Hi friends, I am going to present a video on the topic inheritance and its types. First, we'll see about the introduction about the inheritance. Inheritance in C++ is one of the major aspects of object-oriented programming. It is the process by which one object can inherit or acquire the features of another object. Inheritance is the process by which new classes called derived classes and are created from existing classes called base classes. It is a way of creating new class that is also called derived class from the existing class is also called base class, providing the concept of reusability. The class being refined is called the superclass or base class, and each refined version is called a subclass or derived class. Let's see the example for this. Here we can see the figure in that bicycle is a base class and mountain bike, road bike and tandem bike. These three are the derived classes. Here bicycle is a generalization of the mountain bike. Mountain bike is a specialization of a bicycle. Here these all mountain bike, road bike and tandem bike, these three classes can derive the entire features from the bicycle. Next, we'll see how to define a base class. Here base class has a general features common to all the derived classes, and derived class, that means apart from having all the features of the base class, it can add some specific features itself. This enables us to form a hierarchy of classes. We'll see the definition of the base class. First we need to write the class keyword followed by base class name. So inside the definition we can write the data members and member function of the particular base class. Next, we'll see how to define a derived classes. The general form of deriving a subclass from a base class is as follows. First, the keyword class, then derived class name, colon, visibility mode. Visibility mode means here private, public or protected, then followed by base class name. Inside this class we can write the data members as well as member functions of the derived classes. Here the visibility mode is optional one only. It may be either private or public or protected. By default it is a private. This visibility mode specifies how the features of base class are visible to the derived class. Next, let's see about types of inheritance. Here we have different types of inheritance. First one, simple or single inheritance. Second, multi-level or varied inheritance. Third, multiple inheritance. Next, hierarchical inheritance. Next, hybrid inheritance. Next, virtual inheritance. First, we'll see about the simple or single inheritance. Simple or single inheritance is the process in which a subclass is derived from only one superclass. Superclass is also called base class. Let's see the figure now. In this figure, the vehicle is a base class or superclass. Next, car is a derived or subclass. Here, a class car is derived the entire information from the base class vehicle. Let's see the how to define the simple inheritance here from this figure. Here the class first vehicle is a base class, then we can write the entire features of the vehicle class inside the class, then we need to be terminated that by semicolon. Next we are starting to write the derived class, that is a class keyword followed by car, then colon, then followed by we need to be write the visibility mode. Visibility mode can be private, public or protected, followed by base class name. Then we can inside this class we can write the features of this particular derived classes. Next type is multi-level or varied inheritance. It has been discussed so far that a class can be derived from a class. C++ also provides the facility of multi-level inheritance, according to which the derived class can also be derived by another class, which in turn can further be inherited by another and so on, called as multi-level or varied inheritance. In this figure, first we are having the base class, next we are having two derived classes. In this example, in this figure, the base class can derived by the derived class 1. In this derived 1, for this derived 2 class, it is acting as a base class. Derived 2 class, it can derive the entire information from the derived 1. So, here we have the two level of inheritance process. In the first level, the derived 1 class is deriving the entire information from the base class. In the second level, derived 2 class is deriving the entire information from the derived 1 class. So, here derived 1 is acting as a base class for the derived 2. In this above figure, class B represents the base class. The class D1, that is called first level of inheritance. It inherits the class B. The derived class D1 is further inherited by the class D2, which is called second level of inheritance. Next, multiple inheritance. Deriving a class from more than one direct base class is called multiple inheritance. Let's see the figure of this multiple inheritance. Here we are using three base classes A, B and C. Then only one derived class we are using, that name X. This X derived class can derive the entire features from the base class A, B, C. Then for this figure we can write the definition. Let's see the definition of that. First class A, that is the base class. Next class B, that is also base class. Next class C, this is also base class. From these three base classes, the X is a derived class. It is going to derive the entire information from these three base classes. How can we define? Here class is a keyword followed by X, then colon, then we can write the visibility mode, then followed by base class A, comma, visibility mode followed by base class B, comma, visibility mode followed by base class C. If the derived class is going to derive a more than one base class, that should be separated by comma operator. Then we can write the definition of the derived class specifically inside the derived class. Next, hierarchical inheritance. If a number of classes are derived from a single base class, it is called as hierarchical inheritance. Here we are having only one base class and more than one derived classes. Let's see the figure. First, student. Student is a base class and arts, science and commerce. These three are the derived classes. The students can be art students or science students and commerce students. These all the derived classes can derive the basic features from the student class. So here we are using the hierarchical inheritance. Let's see how to define the hierarchical inheritance format. First, class student. We can write the data members and member functions inside the class. Then class arts. This class arts can derive the information from the entire features from the student class. So how can we derive? Class arts colon visibility mode then followed by student. Likewise, class science colon visibility mode followed by student. Then class commerce colon visibility mode followed by base class, that is a student. So here all three derived classes can derive the information from the base class student. So this technique is called a hierarchical inheritance. Next one, hybrid inheritance. In this type, more than one type of inheritance are used to derive a new subclass. Here multiple and multi-level type of inheritances are used to derive a class PG students. Let's see the figure. Here we are having the person, that is the base class, then student. This is a derived class, but this derived class is acting a base class of the PG students. Next, one more class is a gate class, gate score. This is also one of the base class. Here for PG student can derive the entire information from two different base classes, that is a student as well as gate score. Here student is a one of the derived class only, but in this situation for PG student, the student is acting as a base class of the derived class PG student. Then for student class, the person is a base class. Let's see how to define the classes now. First, class person. This is the base class. Then class student. Class student colon public person. Because student is one of the derived class, it can derive the information from the class base class person. Next, another separate base class is a gate score. So class gate score we have written separately. Then we can write another derived class definition, class PG student. Class PG student colon, because this PG student can derive the entire information from two different base classes, which are which is that student as well as gate score. So we are using here class PG student colon public student comma public gate score, because it can derive the entire information from these two base classes. Like this we can use the techniques in the hybrid inheritance. Thank you.